All right. So all this new tech stuff is like, I don't know whether to like it or hate it, but this thing is now being restreamed to David Arthur's channel. You can see him on the stream there. David, thank you for joining me. A couple maniacs going at it here today
Mm,
about something called Maine Resistance, and we
yeah.
want to invite you to join us in thinking about this possibility today. And we got one viewer anyway, which is good, but it'll be on archive. So if you catch it on archive, then you know how to reach us. You know, neither of us are hiding. We're not anons, as they say on the internet, where you don't get to email us or find our contact information. We're very much out there on the
Very
online.
present.
Yeah, so get in touch with us if what we discuss here this morning uh, piques your interest. So,
Yeah.
David,
Comment. Comment.
yeah,
Ask questions.
yeah,
Voice
comment,
concerns.
and we can see the comments if you're on YouTube watching or X. I think I can see the comments here, or David can, and we'll be sure to respond to you. We're up to 3, David. We're up to
Uh-oh.
3. If you even believe that, probably 2 of them are robots. Isn't it? Maybe all 3 of them are robots. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. I'm telling you.
So, David, we go back a little ways, and you are a very bold voice on the internet and in real life regarding transgenderism and the whole matter of this lifestyle choice, whatever you want to call it, as it
Yes,
appears in
Kyle.
law and in politics. And that's why we wanted to do this stream today, is because we wanted to specifically talk about Maine law and Maine politics as it
Yeah.
relates to this rise in the approval of and the protection of all things sexual orientation and gender identity.
Right.
David,
So
do you
all
think,
things
yeah,
perverted, right?
yeah, all things perverted. Do you think it
Yeah.
would be fair to say that the reason this problem has spun up is because people just don't want to, they don't want to think about it, right? And probably part of the reason they don't want to think about it is because they scroll porn. You know,
Right.
there's,
Well,
there's,
I'll tell you what, Mike. Judith Reisman, before she passed away, her and I became fast friends. I had her on my live stream a few times, and
you know
she's
that she, not to interrupt you, but you know that she was a pivotal figure in Maine's dealing with this issue, because
really
yeah, she physically came to Maine in the early 1990s to appear in Lewiston, Maine, which was the second.
wow.
Yeah, that was the
I
second.
vaguely remember her telling me about coming to Maine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was her. That was the second brutal political battle over this issue in Maine
Wow.
at the municipal level. It was in Lewiston, and she helped us to win that battle.
Wow.
We got 67% of the vote,
Wow.
and
Wow.
in large part because of her courage. So anyway, I
Yeah.
interrupted you.
Judith Reisman was amazing. So I had her on my podcast a few times, and then we would just share emails and phone calls, and she once said to me, she said, David, she said, men and women who are submerged or saturated in perversion are way less likely to stand up against perversion, even if it's coming for their children. And then in that conversation, we talked about pornography, and she said pornography is the perversion that men and now so many women are being enveloped by. And this perversion, once they are wrapped up in it, they are less likely to stand up against perversion. One, whether it be out of guilt, whether it be out of fear of their own, perversions or secrets being outed. I mean, all kinds of things. Fear of man, exactly. So there's so many different reasons why people who are saturated in perversion will not stand up against perversion. And that's pretty much how we got to where we are. when we look at sexual orientation, what a lot of people don't realize is that it's just a label that man created, right? There's nothing in the scripture that even hints to sexual orientation. Because if you were not walking in the way, if you were not walking in your design, which we've labeled heterosexual, if you weren't walking in that, then you were walking in sexual perversion. You were guilty of some type of sin, mostly sodomy, adultery, fornication, all of these things. So sexual orientation just does not exist. And that's hard for us to grasp or comprehend, because especially right now, we have this spirit of rebellion that is upon almost everybody, even us.
Right.
And that spirit of rebellion is the fact that when somebody tries to explain something to you or tell you something, no matter how well they articulate it, and no matter how much sense it makes to you, that spirit of rebellion will still cause you to reject that notion because you didn't think of it first.
So we did a live stream a week ago or so, and during that live stream, I suggested that we do this live stream. And so if you're interested more about what David is saying here, we went a little deeper along down those rabbit holes in that last video, which is archived at michaelheath.tv. michaelheath.tv. It's archived there if you're interested in it. But the purpose of this show is to discuss the possibility of launching a campaign to invite all aspiring public officials, from school board up to federal senator, to make a pledge to rip sexual orientation, gender identity out of the law, out of Maine's policies, laws, etc. So to repeal all that stuff, to just get it out of there, to rip it out of there, and to stop this nonsensical, insane conversation that was spun up in the beginning by left-wing forces, right, David, that were interested, Marxist forces, Marxist-leaning communist forces that wanted to liberate all of us sexually, right? And now it's just become unhinged from all reality.
Now there is no reality for the majority of people. There is none. It does not exist, much like sexual orientation. But I mean, I don't know, where do you want to go with this? Do you want to maybe give a history of where sexual orientation came into Maine, at least?
So let me pull up that document, and let's go through that. Let's try to be punchy about it. So maybe we can link this or something if somebody wants. It's like 2 or 3 pages long. We're not going to read the whole thing, but so
it's actually only so many pages because it's so big.
So David prepared this. So I go back before this to 2000. So this starts in 2005.
Right.
I go back to 1989 in Maine on this issue. So 89. So for 16 years before this picks up, we were dealing with this in Maine at the highest level within the State House, and then we were dealing with it in a populist form because the Christian Civic League of Maine decided to make it a matter for the referendum. And so that played out in the late 90s prior to all of this. And in fact, in 2005, that was the year that we lost a third referendum on the same issue. We won 2 referendums, so 2 populist votes. This wasn't insider, expensive lobbying. This was voting, all Maine people being invited to vote on whether or not sexual orientation should be added to the Maine Human Rights Act. And the third time we voted that, they won. That was in 2005, and I'm going to let David pick this up from here. and they almost instantly added gender identity, right?
Right. Well, even in 2005, gender identity. So that's when sexual orientation was added to the Maine Human Rights Act. But even in that, it included gender identity or expression as part of the definition for sexual orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And so then in 2021, the law was amended to explicitly state gender identity, and it put it in its own category, completely separate from sexual orientation. And so, and then that was pushed throughout the entire state's legal statutes. So it wasn't just sexual orientation now that needed to be ripped out of there. Now there's a whole new category, gender identity or expression. And so we all know that this movement uses these anti-discrimination laws as the legal hammers to force their agenda on everyone, on society, on culture.
Right.
You know,
it's like the camel who gets its nose into the tent, right? That familiar
exactly
metaphor. So we were able, the Christian Civic League of Maine under my leadership was able to slow it down, but we weren't able to stop it. The camel eventually got its nose under the tent. And it was interesting how that happened. It came because of an immense amount of money coming from out of state to flood the state and to control the media, control the narrative over those years. So Maine people just eventually threw up their hands and kind of gave up. But I don't think that the majority of Maine people actually gave up. I think
and I actually don't think, now that we know what we know about what was happening with all the voting, I don't actually think that the majority of Mainers voted for it. However, it's also likely that they did. And why? Because people are embracing the people in their lives that are accepting or claiming this false identity, right? They have children who, I mean, I see families walking away from the church,
right,
because their child is identifying as homosexual, or they're identifying as a lesbian, or nothing at all. And because they don't want to offend their child, they don't want to lose that relationship with their child or their loved one or their best friend, they would rather just embrace it and not address it at all. And it's like
and of course, right, and of course the algorithm on the internet is only getting worse in terms, if you're on Facebook or if you're on X or if you're on YouTube, the algorithm is being used to manipulate your thinking about this issue, to feed to in a nuanced way keep you on this anti-discrimination reservation. Right.
It's even now in the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, I've noticed, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, I know that other people have, because I've had people message me and ask me, and I've seen posts about it on X and on Facebook. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm getting flooded with homosexual and transgender positivity posts.
Right.
And leftist, far left stuff.
And that's all propaganda. That's all marketing. It's being driven by the data points that you have provided throughout your lifetime, Boomer, on Facebook. And they're using those data points to keep you stuck thinking that when the issue of homosexuality or sexual orientation or gender identity or transsexuals comes up, your brain is going to think, who am I to discriminate? That's the whole reason for that.
Oh, yeah. And even with people on X that are saying now they're being flooded with anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, anti-Republic, all anti-conservative things. Right. And so they're very specifically targeting
Well, right,
people according
they're
to their dislikes.
they're targeting us because we're winning.
Right.
And it's not we that's winning. It's not political. This is not political what's happening. It's playing out in the political arena,
Yes.
but this is not political what's happening. This is about humanity. This is about what it means to be a human being and to be sexual as a human being with rules, where there are expectations, where there is history, where there is tradition. This is about destroying and erasing all of that and creating this utopia that the left thinks they can achieve by using the internet, using Facebook, using YouTube to keep you from thinking about the truth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You know, like, why? And then I just shut it down. You know, instead of like, I'll get on to maybe post some effective memes or some effective posts, and I schedule them so that I don't have to sit on social media. And during that time, I'm getting bombarded with everything that I know is wrong, right?
And it's not working.
No, it's not working, right?
It's helping us. It's helping our side.
It's fueling me.
Yeah,
well, but
and
sometimes
we're not really.
It just causes me to say, "Oh, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm off of here."
Yeah, we're not seeing the evidence that we're winning where we want to see it. For example, we're not seeing the evidence at the Augusta School Board right now, where the chairwoman is resigning. I mean, that's the evidence we want to see as a result of Nick Blanchard's excellent activism and Tim Bardnar's work on X exposing what's going on at the school board level. We're not seeing all the evidence that we expect to see because, right, David? I mean, like you just said, you get so mad about it. The whole thing, what it generates inside of you is very negative energy, emotional energy.
It's the same thing that they're doing with them, right? That they're doing to those who are following them and doing their bidding. It's that they're using their thoughts and feelings, this emotional investment, to keep them going, to keep them active. I mean, not to mention, plus when you have the transgender involved, right? Now you have a man or a woman that is taking these synthetic poisons, these psychotropic drugs that are going to destroy them, not just physically, but completely alter their brain function and cause their mood to, because I mean, I know, look, I was on wrong sex hormones at 14. And by 15, I was an emotional wreck. I was a train wreck emotionally and mentally. But when you have that, you have people who are being fueled with this emotional investment. See, it's everyone says, well, I think this and I think this and I feel like this. And I always say, I don't care about your thoughts and feelings.
Right.
And some people take that as an offense, and they really shouldn't. If they could honestly see where I'm coming from, your thoughts and feelings don't mean anything. I mean, you're talking to somebody who for 20 years thought and felt themselves to be a woman, you know, and I can honestly say your thoughts and feelings mean nothing. What matters is the truth. Right. And not your thoughts, not your feelings, and not your perception.
Right. This is all about bringing about a dramatic reduction in the population of the world by 2030. They admitted that in 2020, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, they admitted that the depopulation from 7 or 8 billion on Earth down to, well, they had a granite monument, which I went to before it was obliterated in a very strange way, that printed a number, a goal from the left in the West for global population, and it was 500 million people. So we've got 8 billion people now on Earth, and that monument that they erected in Georgia, the Georgia Guidestones, put in granite, the number 500 million humans on Earth. That's where they're headed. They want to get it done by 2030.
Oh, absolutely.
What better way to get it done than to get men and women to forget that there's a difference between men and women. Men are either or, women are both and there's a reason for that, because when we're humans from the age of birth until the age of reason, around puberty-ish, you need that both and in order for those infants to survive. You better have a both and thinking and acting person who's in charge of those young, precocious, crazy, unreasonable human beings that we call children and that we love with our whole hearts, or at least we should. And then when they reach the age of reason, the man needs to step up, and he's both and. And the reason the man, not both and, he's either or. And the reason a man is either or is because when we become adults, we can't exist without rules and laws and governors and governing and morality and all of the ethics and metaphysics and philosophy and all this stuff. That's not part of the animal world, David, right?
Yeah.
That's what it means to be a human. is we pass from this both and mode into this either or mode, and the men have to step up and make that happen.
Please do.
And so this whole tranny thing obliterates what I just said.
Oh, absolutely. It completely it takes away every natural instinct, every natural desire, every natural thought. It takes it completely away. It's like people have they really cannot grasp the severity of what they're doing to these children.
And so our either or idea that you and I had in our first, when we live streamed a week ago, is let's create a pledge that says to every aspiring and serving public official in Maine, from school board up to senator, you need to pledge to rip sexual orientation / gender identity out of the law, out of the Maine law. And why isn't that being done, right? Why
Oh yeah. Well, I told you last time, I think in the last live stream, but I was actually contacted to if I would come and give testimony when one of the reps was looking to remove the gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go after gender identity. Same thing with the government, right? They want to attack the transgenderism,
right?
But they don't want to touch the homosexual movement. They don't want to touch that. And it's the same perversion, right? Different demons, different gods, but same perversion. It's this, and it's the same threat.
Right.
Not just to children, but to society and to culture, as we see, because these especially this homosexual movement, they have got embraced, and then came the trans movement. Now all the focus goes to the trans movement, and now you have homosexuals standing up against the trans movement, making them conservatives and putting them up on the platforms.
Right. Seeing that in the Republican Party.
Exactly. And so they're platforming these men, and they're platforming them with Christians, making everyone think that the Conservative Party is a Christian party, and so anyone in the Conservative Party is a Christian. And it's just not so, and it's just not true. It's a lie. And when we see what they've done with putting their focus just on the homosexual movement, just on the transgender movement, taking it off of the homosexual movement has made everybody believe that there is a such thing as sexual orientation. And now all of these men and women that could have been healed from this traumatic experience of claiming themselves or claiming the false identity of homosexual, now they're gone. There's no turning back for them. they're not going to be able to say, oh, well, you know what? I think that we should do this. We should just remove sexual orientation. No, they can get on board with going after the trans movement. And I've been contacted to do that. And that was when I said, no, don't contact me again. You know, their blood is on all of their hands. And through that email, through that correspondence with all the legislators in Maine, there was only one woman who responded to me and said, thank you for that rebuke. You're right. The rest of them, crickets. But that's the thing, is they want help to change gender identity out, but they don't want to touch sexual orientation.
Permission has been granted by the moneyed class, the oligarchy, to debate and fight over transgendering. I'm not sure exactly why, but to not get to the truth, which is what we're discussing, which is that there's an organic, direct, logical link.
It is the perversion,
right? Especially in politics.
From the beginning.
Especially in politics, there's a direct, organic, logical link between transsexuality, the transgender movement, and sexual orientation, the sexual orientation movement. There's a direct link. And we're not going to get this sorted out in Maine if we don't put that on the table. And if we don't demand that it be discussed, which is why we're doing this live stream. And in my mind, Dave, we've got 7 people who are watching live according to StreamYard. Now, there's going to be more people who are watching it. But we can launch this thing without a whole lot of support, without a whole lot of money. But we do need more than you and me. Right. We do need a little bit of money, because what we need to do is spin up a website. And then once the website is spun up, so the website's going to have to include a database, because if you're going to keep track of a pledge that thousands of people are going to be asked to make, it's going to take a database. So it's not just a simple website. We're going to have a database that's searchable, and that's not real expensive these days. Fairly easy to pull together. And but we want it to work. We want it not to just be like a Google spreadsheet. We want it to be something that is functional and simple for the non-literate internet person. Maine's population skews older, so we need to make the website as simple to use as possible, so that any aspiring or serving school board member, selectman, city council member, legislator can easily make the pledge. And
I tell you what, Mike, honestly, if this can be done in Maine, then it can be done anywhere.
Sure.
Because I truly believe that Maine government is the most detestable, most it's all in, most perverted government ever. And I mean, even the head of Maine's GOP, the one that's leading the GOP, he voted to legalize prostitution.
Was that who the current guy? I don't know who leads it.
Billy Bob.
Oh, Billy Bob Falkingham. Oh, no way. No way.
He voted to legalize prostitution.
Well, this is the problem with the Republican Party. This is the problem with Maine politics. There's just there never has been for the 40 years that I've been involved with it. 20 years of which I was the spokesman for one of the 2 major politically active religious organizations in Maine, one is the Roman Catholic Church, which has a lobbyist who spends time in Augusta. The other was the Christian Civic League of Maine, and I was the leader of 20 years. And the absence of moral debate and discourse on anything, really, on almost everything, it's just for me, it was insufferable. It was all driven by hidden forces that were moneyed. It had money. They were moneyed. They were economical interests. You know, Republicans say, "Oh, you can talk about taxes until the cows come home," but what's got us so vexed, and the reason we're in so much trouble, is because we're destroying family life in Maine.
Yeah,
we
and the natural family, right,
yeah,
has been destroyed.
obliterated
Yeah,
in Maine.
it's gone. I
It's
mean,
pretty much obliterated.
people don't even believe in getting married anymore.
Well, I was shocked when I ran for governor in 2021 and got no support, sitting in a living room and having a mother blame me for her son becoming a tranny.
Wow.
Blame me.
Yeah, because you spoke out against sexual
Yeah,
orientation
because
standards.
I'm mean. So I drove
Yeah.
him into the tranny thing.
Well, they need somebody to blame. That is always the case. And I see like so Lisa made a comment, and Lisa, I honestly believe that this is all by design. So that's why there's so many, like across the nation, the majority of the legislators are evil, wicked, perverted people. The majority of them, even in states where the Democrats are the minority, and there's very few of them. Then you have the corrupt, perverted Republicans. I mean, it's, I think it's by design. It's everywhere. I've dealt with legislators across the country, mostly via email and phone calls, and I just can honestly say that I have never come across such evil, wicked, perverted legislators and senators and representatives and a governor, and like I've seen in Maine. And I mean, I'm sure everybody can think or feel that way about their own, where they're at, right?
So our idea, David, is to use this logo. You own the name.
Yes,
You
Maine
filed.
Resistance is a DBA, a I belong in Maine.
You've registered it. So we would brand this between now and, I'm thinking, the 2026 election. So we've got a year. Basically, the focus would be on a website, and it would be to get volunteers to put aspiring and sitting public officials on record on this website.
Yeah, and definitely this has to be a secure.
Yeah.
Like my website was hacked, and somebody didn't just like want to take over my website. They went in there and they just changed numbers. I don't even know what they are, like SNAs, DNAs, DDRs, whatever. But they
we'd be working with my son.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. It would have to be like with Jared, because
and he keeps over 100 people all over the world who are Christian. He keeps them online, even ones in Europe where. Anyway, I mean, I could go on and on about
the skills. I already know. He was my tech guy. He was my guy.
So we'd work with. I think
learned a lot from Jared.
Yeah, we can work with him, I think. But you're right. We would have to get. There's no reason to do this unless we can get enough financial support to hire Jared to make sure this thing is secure and safe. This website. And
that's the point. If just having the website, if he could just do that, we can upkeep it. We can change it. We can do things like that. We just need to know that it's a secure one, because I'm not even sure that my website is going to survive.
Well, if you're on any of these platforms now, you're sort of signing up for trouble as we move into this.
Well, I've been with this one since the beginning, since 2011, 2012.
Right, and I don't recommend you change it, because everybody has to, and especially in these darkening economic times, we have to both speak out using the internet, and we also have to pay the bills. And it's going to get harder and harder to make the two things come together: paying the bills and being online as a creator. It's going to get more and more expensive to do this.
Oh yeah, and it's not getting cheaper, that's for sure.
Right.
I mean, that's what we were just talking about before we came on, of how to pause subscriptions, and save money here and save money there. It's really important.
Yeah.
Charlie
point.
Kirk's murder has shook many Christian men wanting to run for office and a couple pastors who want to be more vocal in the pulpit. At the No Kings rally, I spoke with very upset MAGA voters. Wow.
Huh.
And yeah, you know, I can say this, like, if people, regardless of how they think or feel about Charlie Kirk, like, I mean, I had issues with some of the things Charlie Kirk did, and then I even tried to understand why they did what they did, and actually it was Turning Point USA that made me see clearly the Conservative Party is not the Christian Party. You know,
Right.
the conservatives are just the conservatives, right?
Right.
And the Christian Party now, and it's weird because it says like not all conservatives are Christian, but all Christians should be conservative, right? And so that kind of opened my eyes. But what I was going to say is, regardless of how people think or feel about Charlie, when I take a step out of that and I look at Charlie Kirk's life, right? What he did, what he represented, the things that came out of his mouth, the manner in which they came out of his mouth. And I honestly and truthfully see a very good comparison to Jesus the Christ, to his life, to his walk on this earth, and to his mission. And I say that because when I really sat back and thought about it, because Charlie Kirk's death for me, it brought me to a place that I hadn't felt since 9/11 happened. Since the day that I saw the people jumping out of the building.
Right.
You know, and so when that happened, it was, so for me, I've never known anyone that I would say that their life, in my eyes, when I take a step back and look at their life, you know, was compared to Jesus the Christ. But at the same time, that's because everybody that I know. You know what I mean? So I didn't know Charlie like that. So
my opinion, I agree with Dr. E. Michael Jones about Charlie Kirk. The circumstantial evidence is so strong against the Jews with respect to his murder that my theory is, until the national government of America can make a better case than it's making right now, which is just absolutely absurd, I'm going to go with the circumstantial evidence, which shows that Charlie, who started Turning Point with Jewish donors, big ones, huge amounts of money, millions of dollars from the Jews. That's how he started it. And then he ran it. And this year, just like with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, he started asking hard questions. He started throwing a little bit of shade on the whole Jewish question and the whole Jewish issue. On the inside of Turning Point, he wasn't making it a big public issue, but now what's come out because of Candace's friendship with Charlie is all of the texts and all of the conversations and the meeting and wherever that meeting was.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Candace. I think that she sold her soul to the God, little G God of PragerU. And maybe something much different or darker, but I don't know.
Well, PragerU is Jewish, and
yeah,
she's
I know.
So I know. Right.
I'm just saying, you know, it's the whole. Yeah, I mean, they don't believe. I've never seen PragerU stand up against homosexuality. You know, but I've seen them stand up against the transgender movement. And it's, you know, just like just like the conservatives, just like the rest of the world. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that, brother.
Oh yeah, comment.
But, yeah, you know, and it's just hard because I think that a lot of people have been moved, and whether it was emotionally moved, right, emotional investment with Charlie's murder. Or whether it was the fact that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for so many people, because they were like, wait a minute, I can't even speak freely now.
Right.
You know,
Well, and that's what Charlie ended up representing the most is his Socratic method on the college campuses, where he went to the college campuses and he set that table up and sat under the thing and said, "Question me, ask me any question." And then he would go back, he would debate them in kind of a Socratic way. So, and I think that's one of the reasons toward the end of his life he started to question bring up the whole Jewish thing within Turning Point, was because he was hearing it from the college kids.
yeah.
Because this whole pushback against the Palestinian issue within the colleges is backfiring big time for Trump, and because everybody knows it's a genocide, and they can't shut that whole argument down because the whole world has decided it's a genocide. And the only two places on earth that aren't buying into that conclusion is the United States of America and Israel. And so you just can't shut it up. It can't be squelched because of the internet. And Charlie was having to deal with that because he's a college student guy. His job was to go onto the college campuses and talk to kids.
Mike, I look at, where are we at? About 11:10. I look at things like I don't want to be the one that runs out and decides like, hey, guess what? I'm going to do what that person did because, they made an impact. But honestly, I believe that this was exactly why they took Charlie out. And why Sean McBriarty was so attacked and so riddled with demons that he took his life, because they made such an impact and such a difference without acting like fools, without yelling and screaming at people, and with just providing very matter-of-fact information, truth, facts,
Sure.
And so truth and facts are two different things, because what's a fact for me may not be a fact for you, but the truth is the truth regardless of our perception of it.
And emotions are emotions. And one
Right.
of the mistakes I've seen in politics during the 40 years I've been active in Maine and in America is we've disconnected in an inhuman way our emotions from reason and from civility and from all these things. And now what you're seeing is violence begin to become the result, because politics is not managing the the God-given connection between emotions and reason, and people are getting confused, and they're being manipulated by psyops that are run by intelligence agencies, including the Mossad as the most potent one out of Israel, which is keeping America on the reservation right now, using the internet and especially Facebook to keep us from finding the truth about what the Jews have been doing for the last 100 years.
I don't think that any of us
with Western civilization.
I don't think that any of us, because I'm not on either side of that.
Well, you're going to have to. The days of not taking a side are over.
No, I mean, I'm not on any either side of that belief at all.
You mean the Jewish issue, or
both, like either
What's
or.
both?
Either or. So either it's the Jews or it isn't. I'm not on that, because I don't believe that any of us have. I think that we have less than half to whatever's formed our beliefs. I think that we have less than half of the truth about that. I don't think that we have the full truth in these things. Not from what we see, not from what we hear, not from what we read.
Is there truth?
There is truth.
What is it?
Jesus Christ is truth.
Well, no. What is it when it comes to the Jews? And why is it? And why is it that the minute someone starts to throw shade on it, now one of the things I'm seeing happen on the right now is permission is being granted to use the word Zionism and to separate the word Zionism from the word Jew. My question is, why can't we throw shade on the word Jew? Why can't anybody in America?
Well, see, I think that what people don't understand, Mike, is that Jew is not a nationality. So there's a Jew nationality, there's a Jew religion, and then there's the Jew that's spoken of that is God's people, right? I mean, these are.
Well, that's what they want us to believe.
But I'm not talking about a nationality.
Well, is it a religion, or is it an ethnicity, or is it whatever they want us to think it is, given whatever their agenda is? Because they'll wear the ethnicity, they'll wear the religion.
But those three categories are the reason that I'm not on either side of it, because those three categories exist. Because it's the same thing when it comes to, say, pre, post, or mid-trib, right? All three sides have a belief system, and they have a pretty good argument, right? Even if we don't believe or perceive some of the passages that they use in different ways, so I would rather not pick or choose on that, because I think that everybody is going to have a very rude awakening when the stuff really hits the fan. I mean, we think people are like, oh, this is so bad, we're in the tribulation, and we are not. This is not bad compared to what it was right before the flood, right? This is not bad compared to what it was before God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. But
right.
we're on our way there.
Right. I'm going to move us off the Jewish question
and
back to Maine Resistance. I'll throw up this thing, and then as we wrap things up. So what I want to leave you with, audience, if you are there listening live, or you're seeing this on archive, reach out to David or to me. David's website, ibelongamen.com, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm michaelheath.org, and like I said at the beginning of the show, we're everywhere. Let us know what you think. I mean, if there's no support for it and there's no money for it, then this is it. We've done a live stream, we've thrown it out there. It's going to be up to you and God
really, it's mostly what we really need is volunteers. Mm-hmm. People, and I don't even know for what yet, because I don't even know where they would be located.
Well, this is the beginning process. So if you're listening, if you see this, then reach out, send an email, make a phone call if you're a supporter, and say, I'd like to be involved, and then we'll see if it goes anywhere.
Yeah. We need everybody to be outraged. People need to be outraged.
Well, they are. They're
just
getting
that
there.
Was right. And so, and that's part of my thing, right? Is if we have the opportunity to stop what's going on. I mean, because listen, everybody, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not concerned with your thoughts. I'm not concerned with your feelings. What I'm truly concerned with is, if all of these ministries and all of these organizations are doing it right, then why are we where we're at? That's my question always. Like, if I know so many people who are like, no, well, it has to be done like this. You got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. Well, if that's the way it's got to be done, then why hasn't it been done? Why isn't it done? Or why are we still here? Why are we in this position? And I think because it's taken us to this sexual orientation. It's, just like the legislators, they wanted to, in Maine, they wanted to go after removing gender identity and expression, but that's not going to solve the problem.
Nope.
What would solve the problem is for sexual orientation, those two words, to be removed from all law, right? But state by state, if we could get legislators to agree that sexual orientation should be removed from the Maine Human Rights Act, I mean, you're talking about a serious movement.
I'll make a prediction, David. This is going nowhere. This will go nowhere. And the reason it won't go anywhere is because there's no institutional, hierarchical, unified, religious power to bring to the table, to bring to politics, to make our idea actionable, to make Maine resistance actionable. This doesn't happen, this kind of thing, something big like this at the state level, this doesn't happen without money. And like I said, not an enormous amount. It would surprise you how much could be done with not a whole lot, but it's still going to take some money. And it's also going to take institutional unity. In other words, everybody's not going to be able to bring one of their 40,000 denominational ideas about scripture verses to play and have this kind of a thing happen, because there's going to be too much pressure against it. There's going to be too much pushback against it. And so if we fracture along 40,000 denominational lines, which is what will happen, it's what always happens, it's what's happened since I started doing this 40 years ago. We end up fracturing about Revelation or about Isaiah or about Ezekiel or about the Jews or about whatever it is. We end up fracturing and condemning one another over our interpretation of the Bible.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
And that's what that's where I was trying to go with that. You know, that I try to, and this came from my time, my very short time in the political realm here in Maine and throughout the country, just dealing with legislators. But I kind of got to the point where I didn't have to be a Christian. I didn't have to be. All I had to be was the ex-homosexual, right? Or the ex-transgender. That's all I had to be, because that was what I was there for, and that's what spoke to them, you know. And so, not that there's no place for that, because there is a place for that. I mean, you know, the last time I went to a school board meeting, I went there to pretty much ream on them, but I didn't. I actually ended up publicly praying over them.
Well, what you have, David, you're not a church. You're a guy who has a testimony and experience. And it's the power of your testimony that is going to continue to make change. It's going to continue to convict. It's going to continue to point people to Jesus Christ and to Christianity as a durable, realistic, truth-telling religion that can help them confront what's confronting them right now, increasing power, pressure, toxicity, immorality, evil. The power of your testimony is what's going to continue after this live stream is turned off here in a minute or two. It's what's going to continue to touch people's lives and touch school boards and touch legislators and touch. It's going to change people's thinking.
I want everyone to.
But what's not going to happen, I don't think, is because we're not ready for it here in Maine, because we don't have a hierarchy. We don't have the potential for unity in a political sense.
Because everybody has their own agenda.
This isn't going to go anywhere, because everybody's got their own denomination. They've got their own interpretation of Christianity and of politics. And this is just what the folks who want to turn us into surveilled 24/7 surveilled slaves living on an internet plantation. This is what they want. They want to
challenge
they want to govern our moral
everything
convictions. They want to govern everything, but in order to govern everything, they have to be able to shape what we believe.
Right.
And they believe that they've got the tool for the first time in human history that enables them to do that. But Yeah. My guess is
Or
this. Yeah, my guess is this tool existed before Noah.
and exactly. And so that was where I was just getting ready to go with that is, or they know that they haven't shaped the beliefs of as many as they think they have. They've just instilled some kind of fear
Yeah, we're
in
gonna
them
right.
to of speaking out or standing up, right, or pushing back.
Well, we're going to
And
find out, right?
yeah,
In the
exactly. And
in the
so
next 5 years, we're going to find out because they've told us. They told us in 2020. They gave
yeah.
themselves 10 years to
Well,
get this.
not only that, they also just said it recently too about 2030.
Yeah.
But they wanted everything digital. They wanted this, and that's complete control. But I would say this: the challenge for everybody, for me, for Mike, for you, for your legislators, everybody, the challenge is to put down your thoughts and feelings and your belief system and just focus on destroying sexual orientation.
The truth.
Because there's legislators out there, listen to me, there's legislators out there that believe that homosexuality is a sin. They think it's unnatural, they think it's horrible, but for some reason they still believe in this created, made up sexual orientation.
Well, they've all been working. All us boomers, all us older folks who have the authority and the power these days. We all went to diversity training in our workplace. We all sat there and watched those PowerPoints that taught us that you can't. It's wrong to discriminate against the handicapped and the blacks and the whites and the women and the.
Sometimes I think that was my same thing with like not being trained up right in the church or raised in a Christian family. Or sometimes I think that those are my strong points, is that I wasn't, and that I wasn't in the work field all of my life, and that I did come from a side where on my side they were being diverse and tolerant and inclusive, and I didn't agree with them from the inside.
Right.
And so I mean, even when I was a transgender prostitute, I still didn't believe that homosexuals should raise children. Or
too many of us drank the Kool-Aid. Too many of us, especially us boomers. Too many of us drank the Kool-Aid in order to get the paycheck, in order to keep the peace in the family, in order to survive. But it's too. We don't need to go back and cry over spilled milk. We need to move on. We need to take responsibility, and we need to fix this. We need to fix this. And so we're not going to fix it. We're not going to fix it if we just keep talking about trannies, because this is related to the sexual orientation.
Yeah.
That's where it really got spun up in a big way.
Because you know what? If we could get sexual orientation removed from the Maine Human Rights Act, then the whole gender identity thing wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
So we've gone for
that. Why is what, Martin?
So why is just saying as they know better but continue as if nothing is wrong? Wow.
Oh, why is that? Okay. For the same reason that some pastors don't want to get up and address these issues, because maybe they're saturated in their own perversion and they don't want that to be revealed, or they don't want to have to face it. I don't know. But I think that maybe that should be a question that we ask some of them, especially if we know somebody who does think homosexuality is unnatural. Ask them, why won't you get involved with this? Why won't you help?
Well, we've been going for an hour.
We've
been going for an hour. My name is Michael Stewart Heath, and this is David Arthur, and we're doing a live stream on the Maine Resistance idea. If you're interested in it, then share this video with a friend. And also get in touch with us and let us know that you'd like to help. And if we don't hear from anybody, then we'll
do another live stream about it.
Then David will keep telling his testimony, and I'll keep live streaming. I'll keep doing what I do.
There you go.
and God's going to continue to write straight with crooked lines.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in this past hour. We're blessed to know God, and
Amen.
I'm blessed to know David and to have this opportunity to have this conversation.
And Mike and you and Polly and Jared have been a blessing, ever since day one.
Amen. All right. Thank you, everybody. MichaelHeath.com.